don't you just love a good cheeseburger? Maybe good isn't the right word to use in this context, because I do mean those fast food takeout style cheeseburgers, nothing too fancy, but they're just the best. I don't know, they're ultimate comfort food. If we order takeout, it's pretty much always cheeseburger and fries, but now we've decided not to order takeout anymore. 2 reasons. 1, we usually regret it afterwards. You never feel better after getting takeout. And 2, it's pretty expensive. So I'm a fan of making everything myself. And yes, takeouts, they are great when you're just tired and it's evening already and you don't want to do the grocery shopping and you have nothing. It is the best to order takeout and just sit on the couch. But yeah, so we've decided to do everything ourselves. And with we, I mean me, because my husband, he doesn't cook. He doesn't really come into the kitchen as much because I banned him from here. But yeah, let's make a fast food style takeout burger. And we are starting with a brioche dough, because brioche buns are the best buns for hamburgers, and here in the Netherlands it's not that easy to get brioche buns. It's usually just a white dinner roll style type of buns, and that really doesn't cut it for burgers, so we are making our own. It is a enriched dough. That means it has milk, eggs and butter. That makes it pretty difficult to knead with your hands, so I'm using my stand mixer. It's also rather sticky. I am going to show you what to do with it. It's pretty easy though. Relax. So let's get started. Need a scale. I am going to grab my first cookbook, Versteeg. It's in Dutch, but it has the basic brioche recipe. I use that for pretty much all my brioche type recipes, hamburger buns, but also my cinnamon rolls or hot dog buns or whatever. It's just so versatile, it's great. And I am using this recipe, so I'm giving it to you today to make at home. Yeah, let's get started. We need 50 grams of lukewarm water and some yeast. That's already too much. I use dry instant yeast. If you want to check if it's still active and alive, you can just let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes because it will foam. If it doesn't foam, that means your yeast isn't alive and you should get some other yeast because your dough won't rise. Now I bake a lot, so I go through a lot of yeast, so I know this is pretty fresh and it is pretty active. It will be active. So I'm just going to continue to add all of my other ingredients and not let this sit until it's foaming. Yeah, so let's add flour, salt and some sugar and milk and egg to this, and let's mix. And now we mix until it's just a shaggy dough, and then we'll incorporate our butter. Oh. Need to plug this in somewhere. Here we go. Wil je naar buiten? So we've now formed a shaggy dough, and I'm going to incorporate my butter bit by bit until everything has been incorporated into the dough. And now it will get rather sticky, but it's important to just keep on kneading. Tirza. So just keep on kneading until you have a uniform, supple, smooth dough with no structure on it, and you can do the window pane test, but I'll explain later what that is exactly. So add our butter. Where is it? And keep on kneading. So I've talked about the window pane test. That's a test to see if your gluten are developed enough. You'll wet your hands, take out a little piece of the dough, and then try to stretch it out as thinly as possible that you can almost see through it, and it shouldn't tear. Like this. And this means that your dough has been kneading enough and that the gluten are well developed, and you can now let it rest for about an hour or until it has doubled in size. It really depends on the temperature in your home. Onions. I'm just going to cut them in half rings. Let's throw this out first. I prefer to have caramelized onions in my sauce. This is optional. You can also buy caramelized onions, but it's pretty expensive and it's so cheap to make yourself. You just need a lot of time because making caramelized onions will take about an hour, but your dough needs to rise for about an hour as well. So, you know, why not? You don't have to actually do a lot with it, just stir occasionally, make sure the fire isn't too high, nothing is burning and everything is going well. So you just need to check occasionally. Okay. Knob of butter. This is salted butter because that's the only butter I have left. So we don't need to salt our onions for now. My God, this is noisy. Okay, but it is working. So let the butter melt and then we add our onions. Add in our onions. Low heat, because it needs to caramelize, you don't want to bake it. And then we just stir occasionally, that's it. And I'll get back to you in about an hour once the dough has risen and once my onions are fully caramelized. So I was on TikTok some time past, not quite sure how long, but my onions were burnt. So I am recooking them on the stove. My dough has risen nicely in the meantime. I am going to weigh it. Almost 900. I think I'm going to make 8 portions of 110 grams. The dough should be still kind of tacky, but it shouldn't really stick to your hands anymore. Let's weigh them out. So we have 8 portions. Now we form each portion into a ball. You do this by pointing out all of these edges, all of the sides into the middle, and then pull together like a little mozzarella ball. Turn over on your countertop, not floured, that's important because you need the friction to form a tight ball. Lay your hand on top and then just scrape over your countertop while rolling around. Add some pressure, that helps. And then you have a nice little ball. Do you want to see it up close? Let's try one more. You pull in all of the sides into the middle. Pinch together like a mozzarella ball. As you can see, you already have a nice round shape. Turn over if needed. Dust your hand with some flour. Don't flour underneath because you want that friction to get a tight little shape. And then apply some pressure with your hands and slide over your countertop. And that is it. I've put 6 hamburger buns on 1 baking tray. They need to rise now and they also expand quite a lot during baking. So you need some room to have in between. Now we cover them with a damp kitchen towel, or you could also use a second baking tray, but as long as it's deep enough because they are rising and they grow, so you don't want them to touch the top part of the baking tray because then they would stick and your buns would be ruined. But this one is quite deep, so I'm putting them over it and now let them rise until they're about doubled in size, and it takes around 30 to 45 minutes, but it depends on the temperature in your house. We are about 45 minutes later. Let's do a review. Ta-da! Oh. Well, I appreciate my husband turning on the dishwasher. It might not have been the best move in this instance, sound-wise. But let's continue. Brush them with egg. And I have been preheating my oven to 180 Celsius. Make sure you brush all the way around, that every part of your bun is coated with egg, because if you don't, then the eggs will start dripping to the side and you'll get, they call that tears. You'll get drips instead of like a whole evenly browned bun. I like my buns to have some sesame seed, so I have black, and some whites. I will bake these for around 20 minutes or until golden brown, and you can tap the bottom part of the bun, and if it sounds hollow, then they are cooked. So while my buns are baking and they are looking gorgeous, we're making the sauce. I've already diced up some pickles, and I'm going to add my mayonnaise. And some ketchup. And my caramelized onion. And we mix. Perfect. Now, normally I would add chives to this too, but we're out. So, no chives today. But you get the gist, it's still delicious. Okay, let's set this aside and wait for the burgers to cook, and then we can start assembling and, of course, making our actual burgers or hamburgers. So yeah, just a couple more minutes, hang in there. Looking perfect. Let's check. Yeah, they are hollow and hot. We'll let these cool off. In the meantime, we'll make our burgers. And once we're done with that, these will have cooled off enough so we can start assembling our burger. Okay, first, let's start with shredding our iceberg lettuce. I like it very thinly shredded. Let's get this layer off because it's just in the way. And let's give this a wash. And cut our tomato into slices, not too thin. Wat een geluid, man. Ja, zet even daar neer, wil je? Ja, niet hier. So I want my patties to be relatively thin because I will make double patties. And if it's just too big, then your burger will be too big and the burger to bun and sauce ratio will be off. So my pan is smoking hot. It doesn't feel as hot, but smoke is coming off. So I don't know if that's... Ooh. We'll give it a go. I haven't seasoned it yet. Put it in. And smash. You need it relatively thin because, God, the smoke, Jesus Christ. You need it relatively thin because it will shrink during baking. Quick season. Pepper, quite a lot of salt. You need more than you think, probably. Now, we'll add this one as well. I don't know if the hot plate is melting or what's going on, but it doesn't matter. Flip. Give some good old cheddar cheese over here. Let's turn this off. How? Like so. We have our bun, we have our patties, we have our sauce, and we have our veggies. Let's do this. Oh, so soft. Nice. Now, I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's. I think I've eaten a Big Mac once before in my life. I think the structure of the meat is very weird. But from what I understand is they place the first bun with the cheese down. I don't know why. I'm not going to do that though. But if you do know why, please let me know in the comments, because why would you put the cheese down first? Okay, let's start with some lettuce. And then our double patties. Tomato. And a healthy amount of sauce. On top. You could do sauce at the bottom as well, but I find that it slides more if you do that. So here we go. And that's our smash burger. Enjoy. Quiet on set.
Hey Daisy, come. Come.
They got burnt, so I am recooking them on the stove right now. Okay, cool.